Adam, I think you're muted.
Don't tell me that.
Okay.
Don't tell me that. I'm pretty
Sorry.
sure I'm pretty sure I was the entire time, but that's okay.
You were, but it's
It was.
okay.
It's all right.
I know what you're saying.
Like
I could read your lips.
I'm getting used to just the whole new intro scenario for the Force Report. What I gotta mute, what I don't gotta mute. We don't have any other producer here, y'all. So it's just me. So bear with me as we get used to how things are going here. But listen, guys, half the council is here today, but that's more than enough to go ahead and talk some Maul. It's good to see you, Crystal. How you been?
Good to see you too. What is that Meatloaf song? 2 out of 4 ain't bad.
Man, I love it. I love it's a great callback.
Right. I actually
I'm
think it's 2 out of 3, but there's 4 of us, so
I'm gonna have to pull that one up on Spotify tomorrow for sure while I'm
yeah,
at work for sure.
iconic.
Great callback, but it's good to see you. Stuart's not going to be here. I'm really hoping Stuart's going to be able to join us before we wrap up. Wednesday, I think, is a kind of an odd day for him. Will's not here as of right now. I don't know if Will's going to show up or not. He does have a meet and greet or something going on with William Shatner himself from Star Trek. For those of you who don't know, Will is a big Trekkie, so this is a great opportunity for him. I think they're doing like a Q&A session with William Shatner. So if he does make it back in time, it may be a little bit later in the show, but if not, we'll hold down the fort until next week, Crystal.
Yeah, we got it. We have a lot to talk about, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got Scarif in the house. Appreciate you coming through. He says, I'll be back if I'm up. I don't know what time it is for Scarif wherever he's at, but hopefully you're certainly able to join us.
He's in Chicago, so it's not that late.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you never know what he's got to do. I don't know what he does for a living.
True. Yeah.
We got Marcelino in the house. Hopefully, you guys can invite the Gold Man one day to your podcast. He would be a great addition. Do you know who the Gold Man is?
I don't. Do you?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look him up, and maybe he's part of the Star Wars community somewhere. But yeah, Crystal, throwing down the question: how do you guys feel about episodes 3 and 4? Definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts, guys, in the live chat as we talk about this week's episodes. Remember, these are simply our A+ opinions, but we always want to know yours. So let your thoughts be known in the live chat. We love conversing with you guys for sure. Marcelino says, I'm thinking about it. It probably would have been better if the first 4 episodes were released as a batch, since they essentially finish off the first arc. How do you feel about that, Crystal?
I didn't consider that. I could see why these 2 episodes are chunked together. I don't really like the idea of episodes coming all out at once. I'm like the type of person that wants to wait week to week. Even having 2 episodes come out in 1 week is a little too much for me. I do want more, but I also am the type of person that wants to marinate in the episodes, and I feel like it just gives the show time to breathe. It gives us as the audience to kind of fill in the gaps that we need to get us from episode to episode. So I don't think I would have liked if there were 4 episodes out at once.
Yeah, I think probably not me either, just based off of we only have 8 episodes this season, so we had 2 weeks worth of talking about Maul Shadow Lord. And, I don't mind batches so much. 4 just seems like a pretty big one, unless you're just gonna drop them all at once. If you're gonna do a batch of 4, you might as well just drop just a binge the whole type of season. I get from maybe a story arc perspective, especially since I was not a fan of how episode 2 just abruptly kind of ended. But I thought the 2 episodes together kind of work for this show, and to have 4 weeks of talking about Darth Maul ain't a bad thing at all. I'll take it every time.
Yeah.
But yeah. But let's get into this. We're going to go ahead and talk about the show overall, and then maybe some pros and cons on things that we haven't necessarily touched upon. But you know how we do around here, Crystal. Ladies first, let me give you the floor. After watching episodes 3 and 4 as a whole, what did you think?
I enjoyed these episodes more than last week. I feel like there was more meat to these episodes. I really like the lightsaber fights, and I love the action. It was so cool getting the shootout of the Mandalorians versus the cops. I was like, oh, classic shootout. This is so cool. I thought Maul toying with Devon was really well done. I was like a little bit worried how they were going to handle that,
Mhm.
because Maul is this like great fighter. Like he held his ground against Palpatine, but I like that he had one hand behind his back and he was just kind of messing with her. I love the like psychological aspect to it as well, how he's not really testing her, but he's like getting into her mind. And I think that's really interesting. I will say the one thing that I wish we got more of was more characterization of Devon. Like I find myself wanting to know more
Yeah.
about her and her motivations and like what she wants, what kind of Jedi is she? Because it seems like Maul is like getting into her brain a little bit. And I would just like to see that from her point of view. Like I would like to see her be mad about what's happened to the Jedi. Like I want to know why it's working on her, what Maul is saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I'm kind of hoping that the next couple of episodes that wind up dropping, there is a part of me that's kind of hoping that it it does give us maybe some flashback moments for Devon, or even just her sitting down with Master Daki and talking about her own particular past. Because you are right. Like when I watch the episodes, it does seem as though Maul is getting to her, dialing into some of her frustrations, but yet she's very willing to run back to her master and clearly be loving and appreciative and still clearly on the side of good and wanting to do good. So it is one of those things of like learning a little bit more about why she's frustrated, I think would be pretty cool to kind of see. I mean, I think the way that Maul is talking to her and talking about some of her frustrations does give us a sense of maybe why she feels the way that she does. But I'm a sucker for a great flashback sequence, or at least some further exposition for a character. Because I even love the moment in episode 3, I believe it's episode 3, when he name drops her, when she, he actually calls her Devon, and she looks at him and she's like, I've never told you my name, sort of thing. But I there's a lot more to her, I think, certainly worth exploring that I really would love to.
Right. I agree. I think also it's really cool that we're getting like weird, spooky force happening things like Maul's lightsaber talking, the force
Oh, dude,
telling Maul the
it's so
Devon's
good.
name. Like this is like the kind of
It's
stuff
so
that I
good.
really am like, oh, this is Star Wars.
Yeah, hearing the lightsaber talk back, just hearing the creepy whispers, especially sometimes when it just fades to black and it's just nothingness there, sort of thing. Like there is, one. I talked about this last week too, but they even did it again here this week. It's the visuals, not just from an like art style, but like the choices that they make of showcasing Maul to us. The looming shadows that he constantly has on people when he walks into a room, right? Like when Devon's trying to run away and she stops and you just see his silhouette, his shadow like cast over her. It definitely has like Nosferatu vibes
Yeah.
to me a bit. I think I might have mentioned that last week also, but it's just like this living shadow just coming to take you over. And it's just visually, it's just really cool because he technically looks like he's got a crown of thorns on his head almost too, right? So it is just this menacing presence that he has. And even the idea of like when they're trapped in the dark in episode 3 and she's got the lightsaber lit and she's swinging trying to find him, the quick like little glimpses of Maul in the shadows behind her or popping up, it definitely just has like a horror element aspect to it also, that I think really brings elevates the series a lot more, instead of just its traditional Star Wars animation. It seems like they're inducing other genres within the cartoon, the animated series itself, and it really works for somebody like Maul.
Right. I feel like they're really having fun with this show, and I think it
Yeah.
shows in, like, what you were just saying, how Maul is, like, in and out of the shadows, and I feel like they're being so creative with Star Wars as an IP and the Force. Like, we're really getting to see, like, another side of it, and I really appreciate that. I feel like this is doing really great world building for, like, the Sith, And it's not so much of like a behind the curtain, like, you know, we're not like getting to see too much where we're like, okay, the Sith aren't scary. It's actually showing us more and how scary the Sith actually are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think for me as a whole, I would agree with you. I think these were the two best episodes that we've gotten so far. Definitely better than the first two. You know, yes, last week you said insiders have told you that it just gets better after the first two episodes, and episodes 3 and 4, nobody lied to you about that. That's for sure. Like
Right.
it was incredible. You know, the music continues to be really impressive to me. The art style, you know, we talked a little bit about it last week too, like the how seamless it is for them to take like the paintings for the backgrounds and, you know, put CGI and special effects over it. I was actually able to really tell, especially when they visited the planet where the Pikes live at. Gorgeous planet, but you could really tell where the painted background was and then where they just kind of put in one of the towers, but it's so seamless. It just really works for me. I am also a sucker for any time we get the opportunity to talk about sort of Jedi ideologies and to have like Maul be opposite of a Jedi master to kind of debate those things. It always entices me. Like I'm a sucker for trying to see. I'm all like I always consider myself a light sider. Like I will go to my grave as a light sider, sort
Mhm.
of thing, right? So it is always interesting to see Maul, how, you know, the fact that Master Docking here calls him delusional, I thought was really funny to me. Like just seeing how he kind of twists a narrative or he puts his own perspective on things of the Jedi, and having these two kind of go back and forth and really a discussion and debate over ideology that I got to assume Devon is definitely paying very close attention to. You know, like Maul doesn't do anything by happenstance. Like he does everything on purpose. And the fact that he's really diving into the differences between the Sith and the Jedi, especially during this particular time period, I love when that type of stuff is explored. And so I think these two episodes did a marvelous job of really showcasing a couple of great relationships, the Maul and Devon stuff, the Lawson and his son situation, but also I would even say Lawson and Two Boots
Yeah.
was a really fascinating one, that left me in a little bit of shock by the end of episode 4 itself. But I really love what they're doing as a series so far, and the fact that this doesn't just feel like traditional Sith versus Jedi, but again, we incorporating the idea of like crime noir and there being a mystery and the detective trying to solve a crime sort of thing. I don't, outside of something like Andor, perhaps, I don't really, you know, I don't really see that very often. And so it feels like a completely like a new avenue that Star Wars is deciding to go down. And these two episodes just really work for me together as a whole.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I also am a light sider. I mean, I think the dark side is way cooler,
It is
but
cool. Yeah, it
I'm a
is cool.
Jedi for sure. Um, I I recently have gotten tired of the idea that like the Jedi point of view or the Jedi experience is like a bad thing and we need to like deconstruct the Jedi and have conversations about that, because I'm like, dude, it's just good and evil. That's what we need to break it down to. We don't need to be like go deeper than that. But what I do like about what Maul is doing is it's not necessarily saying like the Jedi need to be broken down into these dogmatic, pragmatic, which they are, but I feel like he's like twisting it in a way that is like very interesting and very nuanced in the way that like he's definitely manipulating them, Devon. But he's not wrong. And you had mentioned earlier about every time Maul is approaching Devon, you see his shadow come up on her first,
Mhm.
and he has like a crown of thorns. I think that's so interesting because there's so many like religious um things happening in this, like the idea of how Maul is being truthful. Like he's not lying to Devon, but Devon was lied to about her future. It's I just think there's so many interesting parallels between good and evil and like Catholicism, even though I'm not Catholic or anything, but it's just so cool to see those like visually represented in each other and like where that is driving the story.
Yeah, and I think also Maul plays into the time period that they're in, unfortunately, right? Like the Jedi have fallen, the Empire has kind of taken over. He really gets to the frustrations that Devon is experiencing in the sense of like that unfulfilled destiny, right? Like you talked about the promises broken sort of thing. Maybe out of some of that out of the hands of the Jedi, right? But it if it does bring you to an interesting perspective of if you are a youngling or if you are a Padawan in the temple and you have this bright future ahead of you and then the shit hits the fan. um how do you react to that? Where do you go from there, sort of thing? What you were promised is not the life that you're now living. The fact that you got to be a fugitive and hide the abilities, and if you do showcase your abilities, people might shun you or try to arrest you, sort of thing, right? So this idea of being able to truly live or survive, I don't think Maul is wrong in that regards, but I think he's definitely using the time period that he finds himself in as ammo to kind of twist the truths around a little bit. Whereas I'm sure Master Daki, on the other hand, is probably teaching us something completely different, that despite the turmoil or whatever the changes that have happened to them, the idea of still being true to who you are. I don't know, I would love to hear what Master Daki is telling Devon behind the scenes, but I do think there's a real frustration that Devon certainly feels, and I think maybe rightfully so, because things were stripped from her without any say so on her part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because you can see what Maul's saying to her. Like he says that the Jedi are better, like they're destined to be better, and he's kind of like filling up her ego on that. And I think you can already see that in Devon in episode 1 when she steals the fruit. Like she's
Mhm.
already justifying her actions. She deserves to eat. Not saying that she doesn't. They're starving. They've been on the run. They need help. But it just is interesting to see like how just in that small interaction of Devon stealing the fruit, Maul's already kind of parroting that. And just to go back on the religious aspect, like she's stealing the fruit.
Oh, I see where you're
Wow.
going there. I see where you're going there. I see where you're going there. Yeah, and I think it's interesting too, because yeah, you're right. We do see her do that in episode 1. And then even in the previous episode, and then I think it was maybe episode 4, um, Master Daki kind of contradicts that in the sense of like, only time we use our powers is to help others, not necessarily for ourselves. And so I do think that there is some pushback in the sense that Devon clearly knows that she has the power, where Maul is certainly more appealing in the sense of like, you should be using that power,
Right.
whereas you've got somebody as your master that's really kind of holding you back possibly from your truest potential that maybe she feels she deserves and was wrongly kept from her, sort of thing. So I really love the Devon and Maul stuff that they've got going on so far, 2 episodes in, or 4 episodes in.
Right. Me too. I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier, but I
I
really
did
think that
about the
they're
parent, like
yeah.
child and parent stuff. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really think that Maul and Devon are gonna be like a foil to like Lawson and Riley. And I think it's so interesting to see like how each of their relationships are kind of mirroring each other in different ways. Like Lawson's trying to be there for his kid while Maul is trying to bring this person to the dark side, bring him onto his team. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. That's also why I think that she's gonna turn to the dark side. And I hope she does.
Yeah, I don't, I feel bad for Master Daki. Like it's one of those things because it's like I, I appreciate seeing her truly care for her master, making her, which I think for me will make her eventual turn even that much more heartbreaking. The fact that she
Yeah.
does, the fact that she does come to his rescue and does save him from Maul in here. Um, he does have a line in episode 4 that I feel is really tragic. He says, "I have failed you," and it's such a theme when it comes to Star Wars of masters failing their apprentices. And she doesn't say anything back to him like it's okay, master, or anything like that. Like it's almost she takes that in for herself and digests it. And I do wonder if him saying that is seen as a negative way for her, in the sense of you failed me, maybe Maul won't, but I just feel
Mm.
like anytime you get a master that says I failed you, it's like, uh-oh, yeah, their apprentice is bound to turn to the dark side at this at this point in time. But it is always an interesting theme when it comes to the Jedi, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if like he is gonna die and that's why she turns. Like it'll be an accident or like she puts him in a situation where Docky dies, and then that's like what tips her over the edge.
I honestly thought it was this episode. I honestly thought it was
Yeah,
this week. The fact that Maul's like, "Oh, and you even brought your master," which is what I was hoping you would be like. Oh my god, she just walked him
right.
into a trap.
Right.
So I totally thought he was dead this week.
Yeah, no, I did too. But I remember there's also a conversation from the trailers where he's gonna have a conversation with Devon about don't believe him, sort of thing.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
there's gonna be some tension there.
Yeah, definitely is gonna be some tension, master and apprentice tension. I love it. I also, and just to go back to your pairing, I am glad that you brought that up because it wasn't something that immediately jumped out to me until you mentioned it. The parallels, I think, between Maul and Devon and Riley and Lawson. It does feel like while they're certainly both trying to reach out to their kids, Lawson is the one that tends to run away, and Devon's the one that tends to run away in that relationship. There's always somebody running from the other at that point. But Lawson continues to be an interesting one to me. We talked a little bit about last week why he didn't want the Empire to kind of get involved. And it seems as though there's a little bit of both of what Will and I were kind of talking about, right? I think the overarching thing is, like Will mentioned, he doesn't want the Empire to get involved because he knows if they get involved, they're going to take over absolutely everything on that
Right.
planet. And that's definitely worth considering. But Two Boots also does drop the idea that his former wife is an Imperial.
Right.
Uh, and so that definitely showcases the idea that, like, clearly Lawson and his wife have two completely different ideologies in regards to how to handle things, which is probably what caused their split in the first place. And probably that some level of division between him and his son that he's still trying to kind of make up for, at the same time being, you know, suffocating himself with work all the time. But I did think it was interesting that they brought that up, that's why they're probably not together anymore.
Yeah, I know. I was actually kind of shocked to hear that like his wife
Feels.
was. Yeah, because I thought maybe it was just because the Empire is the bad guys and maybe he knows that, but I don't know, maybe there's more than one reason.
Let me ask you, over or under 50%, do you think his wife shows up in this series?
Oh,
Now that the Empire shows up on the planet, I wonder if she's gonna be
right.
there.
Huh. Maybe she will, and maybe that's gonna be some of the tension with Lawson.
Yeah, I'm hoping so now. I'm really hoping so. Just because I think the family dynamic seems to be a theme in this. I
Yeah.
really would love to see her kind of get back. I really want to see the drama. Like I really do.
Yeah.
Like just a family drama, and to see how like the wife, the father, and the son kind of all interact or feel about each other. Like I want some truths and some things revealed kind of happen, like a Maury Povich episode or something like that, you know?
Mm, mhm, mhm. Interesting.
Yeah,
Hopefully
Captain
she comes
Lawson.
then.
Yeah, Captain Lawson, you are not the father.
Right,
Oh, that'd be
right.
crazy.
That'd be hella funny. I'm
But
dead.
this Captain Lawson though and Two Boots thing, I I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sleep at night. I don't.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for Two Boots. Like I really do. Um, because you really hit on something last week when we talked about, just the things that Two Boots goes out of his way to do, for Captain Lawson. And the one thing that I always love about Star Wars robots is, especially the main ones that are focused on, they always have some level of personality, right? Or lifelike traits
Right.
about them, sort of thing. And so Two Boots seemingly like really cares for Captain Lawson, and the fact that he's really trying to do his best to follow protocol and really try and get the Empire to kind of come in. The the little scene of Two Boots, like when he's at his desk doing work, and you see the picture of the two of them on his desk, and he covers it up
Yeah.
with the thing. I'm like homeboy's heartbroken, dude. Like
Yeah.
he feels like he's losing his friend or hold of the Captain Lawson that he knew, and then to be deactivated by Lawson, dude, I literally stood up out of my couch and walked away from the TV. Like I was so devastated that he did that. But
Yeah.
it is just, it's really heartbreaking to kind of see clearly Two Boots who feel some type of way in regards to their friendship with Lawson, feeling betrayed and feeling bad that he has to do what he's got to do. And I don't know, it just makes for a really interesting relationship between those two.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that their big disagreement like that happened so soon. But I guess, we do have to move the plot forward. But yeah, I feel bad for Two Boots too. I think it's so funny how he is just throwing attitude the last two episodes. Like I was like, dang, he's not even like having attitude, but that bot has attitude.
Yeah,
um
his action sequence too when he went after Maul's group, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool seeing him like do his thing. Yeah, he remembers about Riley's game. Like that is his homie, you know what I mean? And he did his homie dirty. Lawson did Two Boots dirty for
Yeah,
sure. Like
yeah,
he took it too far, I would say.
yeah, I think so too. Definitely a ride or die type. It feels like Two Boots is, and the fact that it's just it is. I think that just goes to showcase just one of the flaws of Captain Lawson here, like the idea of him feeling like he has to handle everything on his own. Like, the idea of not calling the Empire, even at that particular point in time when stuff is really hitting the fan, it's just like, I really need to know, is it really just because you don't want them to come in and take over? Is it because of your wife, or is there even something even more? Because it feels like even at that point, you would think you would even cave and be like, okay, yeah, we should probably bring them in. But he refuses to do so.
Right. I think it might be, and this is just like a throwaway line from Two Boots, when Lawson tells him, like, oh, we got a lead on where Maul the fugitive is. And Two Boots says, and he says it super backhanded. He says, oh, did you get this information from one of your, I don't know exactly what he said, but he said one of your unsavory contacts. And so
Contacts.
I think maybe Lawson is like running something in the city. Maybe not like a syndicate or something, but I think there's also another reason that it's not just his wife, it's not just the Empire. Like I think maybe he has his plugs and he just want to put them into
Mm.
jeopardy.
It could be. Yeah, maybe he's doing some unsavory things. Maybe he has in the past, or at least the way that he's going about doing his job probably would definitely be looked down upon by the Empire and others for sure.
Right.
um yeah, maybe he hasn't necessarily kept his nose clean
Yeah,
through
that's what
all of
I
this,
think.
you
I
know.
think he's willing to do whatever it takes.
It seems like it, because it's like, bro, you shut down your ride or die boy
Yeah,
to just go out, like, bro, that's crazy to me.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty crazy.
Justice
So
for
yeah,
Two Boots.
for real, like, can we give this man his own spin-off series or something? No, I'm just
Yeah.
maybe that might be a little two steps too far, but
Right.
I need a Two Boots poster or something
Yeah.
released. I mean, my
Speaking of
man was like,
droids,
oh,
uh,
Spybot.
yeah, I love Spybot.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's my favorite.
He's
He's
my
my
favorite.
favorite. He's got such spunk and attitude about him. He says something like, he's got this catchphrase, Bukasha or He says something. I'm like, where does it? That's way too modern of a phrase for you to even be saying. Like,
Yeah, like what?
yeah, let me see if I can Google that. Like, what does he even say? Spy bots catchphrase. Maul Shadow Lord. It's like Bukasha or some crazy shit. I don't know. Oh yeah, Bushkado.
Bushka
Bushkado. He said.
What the heck?
Yeah,
That sounds
he
like
said it like
Shabakadu.
yeah. Bu- Bushkado. It says Spybot's notable catchphrases. I see you and Bushkado.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, it's like, yeah, it's almost like booyah, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it's like for him. It's like, dude, I love him. I love Spybot now.
Me too. I want more Spybot. I think that's the thing about the show so far is like I just want more. I know we only have like what is it, 22 minutes, but I wish we just got more characterizations from like Spybot, from Devon, from Rootcast. Like I want more.
Yeah, Ruka's was kind of underutilized the past couple of episodes. That although that the battle sequence in episode 4, like the shootout, was pretty intense. I do love the scene with Captain where Rook comes in with the flamethrower,
Yeah.
just trying to maul people down. Even the one of the things you mentioned, the fighting in here, the choreography was great. And the one thing that I continue to notice too is like the animation on Maul, I think sometimes changes. And I mean that in a sense, like there are certain scenes, maybe based off of the lighting of the lightsaber, or if there's just maybe more lighting in the room, you can really see sort of like the paint strokes, it feels like, in regards to his features when it comes to his face. And it's always stunning anytime. Like you don't see it all the time, but there are definitely some moments of where the scene is lit a little bit better than others, that it really showcases itself. And I'm like, man, just the attention to detail for every little scene is it was just remarkable.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't necessarily think it's distracting, but I do find myself like staring at the
Just
background or yeah, seeing
right.
the paint marks. I'm like, wow. Like I think
Yeah,
it warrants watching these episodes more than once.
it really does. And I would, if you can watch it in like a really poorly lit room, like just turn off all the lights and watch it in the dark. Oh man, it really pops even more, just the colors and the art style and painting. Like even just the cityscape itself, whether that be like the overshot looks or just the down looking down the city blocks and stuff. Yeah, visually it's really stunning. I'm just really impressed. And I know Dave Filoni's one of the things that he told the entire crew is everything's got to be better, better this, like really pushing his crew. And man, I don't think they've done anything like this. I mean, it looks really incredible to me.
Yeah, same. It's like they took all the best parts of the Clone Wars and Bad Batch and they just like magnified it. Like they really are making like some of the best Star Wars animation, not only with the way that it looks visually and the way that they're experimenting with the animation style, but I would say even like storytelling. Like this story is a lot different than the tone of Bad Batch and the tone of the Clone Wars. I love how serious this show is. I think with a character like Maul, it couldn't be any other way. And I'm glad that they're like really committing to that. I think that Star Wars really needed that.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have like your lightheartedness a little bit with somebody like Vario, I think,
Mhm.
every now and then. But that's like sprinkled in so little that the rest of it feels heavy. It feels like it's definitely taking itself serious. I mean, outside of like Lawson going to his son's game, it always feels like it's nighttime somewhere, or like the sun is setting somewhere, or you're in the back alley, or like an abandoned factory somewhere. Yeah, they're really taking this show serious. And you're right. For anybody else, especially Maul, like you definitely have to. And they're really leaning into some really great Maul material right now.
Yeah, something I really love that they're doing with Maul is that they're making him like this highly intelligent villain. I don't think we've really had that. I mean, we know that Palpatine was 10 steps ahead of everyone
Hmm.
of the whole
Hmm.
empire, but I love getting to see Maul be so articulate. I think you had mentioned earlier that just like his word choice is so deliberate, and I feel like
Absolutely.
you can really tell with the writing and the way that uh what's the guy who plays Maul? Oh my god, fake fan.
Sam Witwer.
Yes, you can tell even with like his delivery of the lines, like the directing of the scenes. Like they have 22 minutes to tell us a story, and it's like they're being so deliberate with the word choices and the character actions and the direction. Like it's so good.
Yeah, and like two examples, I think. When he's talking to Master Daki, and he's really challenging the Jedi's sort of passive ideology. Challenge in the sense of where have the good deeds of the Jedi gotten you, sort of thing, right? The unwillingness to use your powers. And Master Daki says, that is your delusion. And Maul hits him quick with then let's discover the truth. Like the dialogue is crazy. It's so good
Yeah.
in here. But you're right. He's putting himself in a really great position purposefully to certainly bend the truth of things and definitely get into head of somebody like Devon. And even I don't this might have been episode 2, or maybe it was 3, when he is talking about the things that he lost, that he was promised, and the fact
Yeah.
that, his wife, his child, like his people's, like, all taken from him by the empire, and also making that very relatable to what Devon is going through in regards to all her promises and dreams being taken away from her by the very same people, sort of thing, right? Like
Right.
he knows her story, and he has the ability of being as intelligent as he is to have his story mimic hers, and really um get into her psyche, for sure. And it's just really remarkable to kind of watch, for sure. Like you said, we're so used to Sidious being that one to manipulate and move the pieces on the puzzle, but now that we've got Maul as our lead here, he's doing that work, and it's incredible to watch.
Yeah, I love how he is like using his actions to kind of prove to Devin that he's not the person that he said he was. I mean, I feel like we've always been talking about the idea of like showing, not telling. And I feel like not only is this show showing us and not telling us, but Maul as a character is showing Devin and not telling her, like, oh, I'm different. He's like, yo, I could be evil and I could be crazy and I could not care. He's like, but I'm not like that. Like, everything you learned is not always true. And this is an example. I'm going to pour you tea. My weapon is right here.
I'm gonna
You
let you
know?
leave, I'm
Yeah.
let you run away and leave, and come back if you want.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like, yeah, like, dude,
Yeah.
that's like, he's definitely showing like a completely different side to him, that but I mean, I think we know the truth of who Maul certainly is. I think when shit hit,
Crazy.
yeah, when shit hits the fan, like, he's for
Right.
sure. But he's got to put on the front. He's got to put on this face, and he's definitely doing enough to try and pretend that, like, yeah, I'm not like that. Okay, whatever
Right.
you say,
Right.
Maul.
He's just trying to get her, like maybe he won't be like that to her, just like he wasn't like that to Savage, like he wants to build out his family. And I really truly believe that this is me sounding crazy, but I feel like Devin is gonna be like a daughter
A
figure
daughter.
or yeah. And so I think, he doesn't have a problem with attachments. I think that he really wants an apprentice, like he really wants to be one of two.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking that when I was watching it. It's like there is this need and this want that you can tell because of how persistent he is with it, that there is something inside of him that almost feels like he needs to teach somebody. Like, I'm so used to, I think at some point in time, the Sith Lord knows that the person that he's training is going to kill them and take their spot, sort of thing, right? Like,
Right.
I think that's the purpose, is like they want to make him as powerful as possible, so that when they get to that particular point in time, like, they've achieved what they're supposed to achieve because they wind up killing their master. Whereas, like, when I look at Maul and the Devon situation, like, I don't even know if Maul's even thinking that.
Hmm.
Like I wonder if Maul is like literally just wants somebody there that he can literally rule the galaxy with, but I don't know if he I don't know if his I don't want to say his ideology completely matches up with the rest of the Sith, but there's just I don't know, there's just something about his need for wanting to have an apprentice that just makes me think that it's more of an emotional attachment thing than it is maybe following a Sith rule, if anything.
Interesting. Because that was what I thought his motivation was the rule of two. Because I'm like, why does this fool keep trying to get someone? He had his brother. He tried to
I
get
mean, he
Ahsoka.
probably.
He tries to
I mean,
get.
I do think that the rule of two is real for him for sure, but I think the attachment side of things maybe outweighs um that I guess the true end game for all Sith masters, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. And just looking at what Maul has already been through, I think that Maul has like deep attachment issues. I think that he has like abandonment issues. You know, he was like abandoned by his master. His mother was killed. His brother was killed. I think maybe that finding someone like Devon or finding an apprentice or someone he can love is going to be like, it's going to be the thing that saves him. Well, so
I,
he thinks.
right, yeah, so he thinks probably. I wonder how much time passes from I am kind of curious as to, well, to be fair, we are supposed to be getting more seasons of the show. It's not like this is 8 episodes and done. We do have a plan on. I think they renewed it for a second season already, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yes.
So I am kind of curious as to one, how many seasons we're gonna get, and how close up to the return of Maul and Rebels will we come? Like how much time will have passed after this season to then? I'm
Hmm.
kind of curious as to the canon timeline now, like how many years are separating us right now.
Right.
I'll have to do some digging on that.
So I thought I heard someone say it's like 3 years. Does that sound right to you?
Um,
Yeah, please look it up.
yeah, I'm
But
about to Google this real quick. Google is your best friend sometimes.
right.
Between Maul, Shadow Lord, and Rebels. Okay, so Shadow Lord takes place approximately 15 years before Maul's appearance in Star Wars Rebels. Um,
It's a
so it
lot of
says
that's a lot of time to cover.
that has a lot of time. Yeah, it says the series is set around 18 BBY, so 18 years before A New
Battle of
Hope.
Yavin.
Yeah, and then roughly 1 year after the end of Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith. So yeah,
Okay.
about 15 years. And yeah, that'll get closer as we yeah, it'll get closer as we get more seasons.
Yeah, I would
But
love to
that's a lot
see
of time though.
that is a lot of time. I would love to see how he becomes a crazy old man at a Sith temple.
Right?
Locked there, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, is any pros or cons to this episode that you weren't necessarily a fan of, or that you were a big fan of that we didn't talk about?
I think the only con is just I want more from some of the characters. Like I said earlier, I would love to know Devon's point of view. I want to know like why exactly what Maul is saying to her, like why it's kind of clicking or like why it's working because it didn't work on Ezra and it didn't work on Ahsoka. And so why is it working for Devon? You know, was she already kind of in that mindset? Is she already resentful of the Jedi? Is she already resentful of Master Daki? Like, I want more characterization and explanation from her. I think I would like more characterization of all the characters, like Rook cast. She's so cool. Like, where's my girl at? Like, I also want to see more from his henchmen. Like we have one of the Zabraks name is I believe Icarus. So like let's get some of them. Like I want to know more about all these characters.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if anybody of these characters showed up in season 7, Clone
Mm,
Wars.
I have to go back and watch it.
Yeah,
Siege
it's
of
been a minute.
Mandalore.
Uh-huh.
I have to go back and
Um,
watch it.
because yeah, I would definitely love to know more about Rook for sure. The other ones feel a little cannon fodder to me, but
Yeah, no, totally.
you know,
Exactly. Like, make me
but
care.
yeah, but Rook feels like she has some level of importance. I definitely would love to see explored a little bit more. But I really do think that a Devon episode, I think a Devon episode's gotta happen where it's really like focused on her and her truths about what's kind of happening. Because I do agree with you. I think because of the fact of just how the situation happened for her in regards to the Jedi Temple and her dreams and stuff being stripped from her. I do think there's a lot of resentment still built in that hasn't been answered, or that Master Daki hasn't really addressed for her necessarily. Or maybe Master Daki has, and he realizes this is something that still is boiling with inside of her despite, their training sessions or whatever the case may be. So I do think we need to have a come to Jesus moment for Master Daki and Devon in one of these upcoming episodes for sure.
Yeah, I would love to find out that Devon and Master Daki weren't even Padawan and Master. They just ended up together. I would
That's what
love to find that out.
yeah, I think we talked about that too last week, was the idea of like, how did these two even come together? Were they master and apprentice? Were they just thrusted in? I thought in this episode, when he hands her the robes and the lightsaber and she's really thankful and she says thank you master, sort of thing, that was a moment I was thinking to myself like, okay, maybe they, maybe they do have a long past in regards to training. But I think you might be right, Crystal. There's a part of me that feels like, now that you mention it, I'm like, yeah, maybe they were just brought together per survival, and maybe not each other's true master and apprentice to each other.
Yeah, and maybe that's why there's like tension between them, or why there's like
Maybe,
distrust, or why she doesn't really listen to him. And
right, maybe some of the lessons aren't really necessarily taking, sort of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe. As far as, look, first off, thank you for ending episode 4 off the way that it did. Like
Yeah.
the Empire coming in was fan freaking tastic. It was a great way to wrap up that episode. I was just like, victory.
Yeah.
I just felt,
Finally.
finally
Right.
somebody's listening.
Right.
But so yeah, I was very pleased with that. I don't know if I have too many cons, if I have any cons at all with these 2 episodes, with this exception of maybe like just longer, give me more.
Yeah.
I do think that they fed us more in these 2 episodes than they did last, in the sense of, you mentioned it, like just meat and actual like dialogue and learning about some of these characters, I think really went a long way. So yeah, I don't know if I really had any cons in this episode. I think I had, the biggest pro for me was just the ending for episode 4 for sure.
Yeah, and the Imperial March, I was like, yes.
Yes, it was really great, really great.
So cool. Such a cool way to end the episode. That's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, no, it really was. I'm like, oh, I can't wait for next week.
Right. Well, and then right before that, Two Boots is like, well, I hope you could forgive me too. I was like,
oh, he did it. He did it.
Right.
Everybody's beepers going off. Like,
right.
Oh,
so good. That was a great ending.
Yeah, it was a really great ending. Let me before we get into our grade, I do want to, is there anybody else? Let me see what some people are saying. Fucking Marcelino. Will Daki have a twin named Taki? Just so we can reference to the chip brand. I'm not even kidding. When I think of Master Daki, I always think of Takis. I don't know why. I do. Marcelino and I are like, here, dude. Like, I don't need a twin Taki, but I think of Taki. That's how I remember how to pronounce his name all the time.
You should tweet that. You should put like a picture of Daki and a picture of Takis. You should say like, spot the difference or something stupid.
Or maybe I can get AI to generate a bag of Takis that says Dakis and it's his face on it eating Takis. Maybe.
Yeah, it'd be funny if you just put his face on the bag of chips.
Yeah. Put Daki on the bag of chips and call it Dakis. That's what I'm gonna do.
Goodbye. Canon.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna pop up by episode 7 in this show. Yeah, maybe. All right, I'm gonna get AI to work on that for us. we got the Rebellion of Hope. What's up, Rebellion? Wanted to pop by. Need to get rest. Have a great stream. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming through. Let's see here. Marcelino says Star Wars has done crime noir aspects before. Clone Wars has several episodes like that, like Ahsoka being framed, Senator murdered. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I just mean like as an entirety for a show, for sure. But yeah, no, you definitely are right in that regards. Minor thing, but this is the first time where blaster fire can physically melt structures to the point where they collapse. They've never done it before. Normally, they just are just sent and that's it. Yeah, I think he used that to chop down the whatever the scaffolding was.
Yeah. I thought that was cool too. I was like, oh, it's like actually interacting with the environment.
Yeah, that was pretty dope. I even love seeing in the fight sequence whenever, first off, anytime when I was watching the fight sequence in episode 4 and Maul's taking on the two of them, I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, you got this, Maul. Like you've done this before, bro.
Oh
like
yeah.
you know, the double Jedi, you're fine, bro. You're fine.
Right. Yeah.
And there's just a cool scene when he pushes Devon and she flips to land and she like digs her lightsaber into the ground and it like drags and it just leaves like a line of melted steel on the floor. I thought that was like really appealing to me. And another pro, the body count in this episode, not cannon fodder this week, as he chops down quite a few pikes on that planet. And he even takes an I can't say he takes an inspiration from Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi, where he activates the lightsaber and cuts Homeboy in half as he force pulls the lightsaber towards him.
So cool.
So cool, man.
So cool.
So cool.
Yeah, the lightsaber stuff is really, really good. Like some of the best, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely up there animation wise. But yeah, I know Will didn't care for the body count last time because it was like droids and stuff. I was like, Will would be proud of this episode for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, all the police too, they're injured and it wasn't just all
all out on stretchers and stuff in here this week. Yeah, it was brutal fights. But all right, guys. It is time. I told this to Crystal before we went live. I did not bring the grades this week, but we will grade them regardless. So Crystal, what would you grade this week's episode of Maul Shadow Lord?
So I'm gonna give it a 90. Like I do think that this episode was better than last episode. I'm giving it one more point than from my 89 last week because I think as the show continues, I think my expectations are going higher and higher. Like the things that I want, I really want. But I can admit that this is a better show. Is it perfect? No, but I love it. 90.
90 this week. Okay. Last time I gave the show a 90. That was my score last week, was a 90. I didn't really have, outside of maybe episode length, but it's just like it's animation, so I find myself a little bit more okay with that. There is a part of me that's just like, I don't want to give it 100 because similar to what you said too, it's like, especially if the episodes get better and I've got 4 more to go, I'm like, dude, I don't want to blow my load at 100 already. Like, maybe the best is yet to come. So, I will be bold here though. I'm not going to go 90, but I might go 95.
Okay.
I might go 95. This is going to be a solid A for me here this week. So, yeah.
Yeah, I keep wanting to like rate the show higher, but I'm like, okay, there has to be some kind of standard. It can't all be 10 out of 10. Like there has to be some kind of, it's like when I call everything my favorite, like they can't all be my favorite,
Yeah, sometimes you gotta make choices, Crystal. And especially if you have kids, you can't have all your kids can't be your favorites. You gotta pick one. You gotta have one kid that's your best.
Right.
So altogether, the average for this week's score is a 92.5. So that will probably bring it to about, I believe that's a A- for this week's episode.
Okay.
So a 92.5 this week. So great job, Maul Shadow Lord, for another outstanding 2 episodes. And I think the Rotten Tomato score for this show is still at 100.
Is it?
I believe so.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Rotten Tomatoes, Maul Shadow Lord. Look at that. It's like it knew what I was looking for immediately. Let's look this up here.
I have such a
Yeah.
hard time trusting those things, though.
Yeah. Average tomato score for critics 100%.
Wow.
Audience score 94%. So
Wow.
yeah,
We're right on. We're right there with everyone else, I think.
we're right there. We're right there. So yeah, man. Great episode, Crystal. Look, guys, if we always want to know your thoughts. So even after we finish up and wrap up, if you have any thoughts about the episode, feel free to share them certainly in the comment section box below. But Crystal, if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you?
I make Star Wars and beauty content. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Crystal Kyber. Some iteration of Crystal Kyber. If you type it in, I'll show up. So
I know you were also on the Triad of the Force last week. Were you on there
yes.
this week also?
No, just last week.
Just last week? Okay. Okay, awesome.
Yes.
I do want to, maybe next week, I think we should try and reach out to Alex and
Oh, I
see.
did actually.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, they said that it's too late for them. I think that this is like they're I don't
Oh,
know where exactly they are. I think it is Central Time, but they said with their work schedule, it's too late for them to come on. So,
I
because
get you.
I was just like gauging their interests to see, I wanted to report good news.
Yeah, no, I get. No, I totally get. I totally respect that for sure. It is. Our show is kind of late, but yeah, it's just trying to fit everybody's schedule. But understandable. But yeah, if you want to follow us on social media, well, hopefully, if you've been watching the bottom of the, I'm just gonna point to the stuff at the bottom. We're everywhere over there, guys. So yeah, good luck finding us. But the Force Report will be live every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central Time for your Maul Shadow Lord reviews. After this show wraps, we may go like to a bi-weekly episodic stuff for you guys to talk about, maybe news that's dropped in the Star Wars world. And then we also have Mandalore and Grogu to celebrate in May. So a lot of great stuff certainly headed your guys' way. But yeah, we will certainly see you guys next time. So in the meantime, do us a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. May the Force be with you. Talk to you later. Bye.